This is a sports catastrophe production. Hey there, Heather, ho there. It's Jeff Cutter welcoming you to another sports catastrophe birthday boy. And the birthday boy for today, June the 9th, 1951, is a baseball player who's now known as the Cobra. He's 71 years old. He played right field in baseball from 1973 to 1991. Seven-time All-Star, won 2 NL batting titles and the MVP in 1978, and won 2 World Series in 79 and 89. He actually was the second pro athlete to earn $1 million a year, doing that in 1979. He's done pretty well for himself, some gold gloves, but he is not in the Hall of Fame. Anyway, his name is Dave Parker. Parker actually grew up in Cincinnati, close to Crossley Field, so he would play baseball in the stadiums, parking lots. He liked football and all that, but he went to baseball. Pittsburgh signed him to a deal, and then as a member of Pittsburgh's AAA club in Charleston, West Virginia, rumors were that Parker hit a home run that landed on a coal cart on a passing train, and the ball was picked up in Columbus, Ohio. Parker said he did hit some balls onto the train tracks, but not when a train was going by. By July 1973, the Pirates said, you know what, let's keep this guy and take him up to the majors, which they did. So for 10 years, he was a Pittsburgh Pirate. Dave Parker surprisingly wore batting helmets from 2 different teams, but not of his own. It was the 77 All-Star game. He wore a Padres jersey and a Padre and a Reds sweater and all that. No, batting helmet. In 1977, he was the NL batting champion. And in 1978, he was also the batting champion when he won the National League MVP, which was amazing. And all that for Dave Parker. I believe that was the year he shared it with Keith Hernandez, if memory serves me right. I think that was him. I can't remember. I'll have to go back into my notes here. No, 79 was when Hernandez shared it, but with another Pirate, Willie Stargell. My fault. So yeah, he was the NL MVP in 1978. Now the pitcher you see here, I'm going to tell you about it. In 1978, June of 78, Parker was in a collision at home plate with John Stearns of the Mets. It fractured his jaw and cheekbone, but he wore a specially constructed face mask in order to minimize his time away from the lineup. And the Pirates gave him the first $1 million per year contract in baseball history. The following year, he helped the Pirates alongside Stargell and many others. Can't think of. Was an instrumental part of the Pirates winning the World Series, coming back from 3-1 down against Baltimore. In 1979, he famously had a defensive game for the ages at the All-Star game in Seattle. He threw out he made an amazing catch, and then a ball bounced to right field. Parker uncorked a big laser beam to catcher Gary Carter, who tagged someone out. I can't remember the AI guys that were involved. Regardless, the Pirates actually were angered by his $1 million contract. And they would throw lots of things, nuts, bolts, bullets, batteries at him. So anyway, everyone said Dave Parker would be one of the greatest players of all time. Parker actually took after Willie Stargell in warming up in the on-deck circle with a sledgehammer. Unfortunately, Dave Parker had some issues, and it led to bad things. Parker's hitting would suffer in the early 80s because of injuries, weight problems, and cocaine use. Dave Parker was one of the main guys involved in the Pittsburgh drug trials, which was trying to talk about cocaine and all that. Because a lot of the stuff happened in Pittsburgh, the cocaine stuff, including the pirate parrot, or the mascot. Anyway, Parker was a free agent and decided to sign with Cincy. And it worked. In Cincy, he returned to form. In 1985, the year of my birth, He had a 312 batting average of 34 home runs, led the NL with 125 RBIs. He finished second in MVP voting to Willie McGee. Anyway, Parker, after the 85 season, was one of several players who testified against a dealer. I think Curtis Strange. Some guy named Strange, but anyway. Parker and 6 other players were suspended for the following season. Fair enough. And then somehow the sentences were commuted in exchange for donating 10% of their base salaries to drug-related community service, submitting to random drug testing, and making 100 hours of community service. So Parker paid his price, although it was not as steep as it should have been. Anyway, Cincy would trade Parker to Oakland for Jose Rijo. That deal would actually help Cincy in a little bit. Anyway, Parker would extend his career by being a designated hitter. He did decent. And his veteran leadership was why the Oakland A's were the 1989 champions, despite the fact that it should have been in 1988 and 1990. So his second World Series title. Now, Parker signed with Milwaukee and was the DH there. He was good. He was a reserve for the All-Star game. So 1990, I talked about the Parker Rijo deal. Jose Rijo would help the Reds win the World Series in 1990 against Oakland. Anyway, Milwaukee had a good chance to keep Dave Parker, but they decided to go for youth and traded him to the Angels for Dante Bichette. Parker would play for the Angels for a while, but was released. Then the Blue Jays decided, hey, we need some help for the pennant race. So they took Dave Parker under their wing. So yes, Dave Parker was a Toronto Blue Jay. Parker didn't play much. He was actually not allowed to play on the postseason roster because he was acquired too late in the season. Parker could have helped the Blue Jays in the ALCS against the Twins, but that didn't happen. Parker would retire at the end of the year. Parker would become a first base coach for the Angels, a batting coach for the Cardinals, and a special hitting instructor for Pittsburgh. He owned several Popeyes Chickens franchises in Cincy until selling them in 2012. Parker never got past 24% of votes for the Hall of Fame. And by 2011, he was done for. His eligibility was exhausted. But the Modern Baseball Era Committee could elect him in and all that. A lot of people say that Parker's involvement with the Pittsburgh drug trials was why he's not in the Hall of Fame. It did harm Keith Hernandez and Tim Raines, too, who also were part of the cocaine thing. Hernandez fell off the ballot on the 9th try. Tim Raines was luckily elected on the 10th year of the ballot. So anyway, using advanced stats, Dave Parker wasn't really that good and all that. Dave Parker has Parkinson's, 6 children, and lives near Cincinnati. So Dave Parker was a very good hitter and all that. It's just that the Pittsburgh drug trials may have ruined him, his career, and may have ruined his chances to the Hall of Fame. But we shall wait and see. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. I do.